And the thing is that drug hasn't been out long enough to see what's done long term to somebody trying to use it to lose weight.
But weight loss is that trigger word
Yeah.
that it, exudes so many emotions for so many people, has so many traumas.
Causes cancer. Hell, our country club uses high fructose corn syrup to kill weeds. How is that good for our
Crazy, and we're
body?
eating it. Clarity. What if we can gain balance in our life? What if we can gain a sex life? What if we can have all of those gains? And I won't call it's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle, damn it. It's what it is. It's a Hey everybody, welcome back to the Prime Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Skip Wyss, and I am with the fabulous Dr. Julie Wyss today. Dr. Julie, how are you doing? You look fantastic.
I'm good.
It's nice to see that we coordinated our wardrobes slightly today, again, as usual, except for you've got your leopard on. You have
trademark cheetah.
You have cheetah print on every day.
There is at least something cheetah that I have on, yes.
Yeah, I find that hilarious. You know what? I was talking to Mika Taylor a few weeks back when we were in Nashville at the Michael Chandler Mastermind, and I asked her the same thing, and she's a leopard lady as well. And she's like, just because you don't see it on the outside doesn't mean that it's somewhere else.
Agreed.
Agreed. And most of the time, it's actually, you've got leopard socks that you wear as well.
Socks or my nails or earrings.
Yep. And other things, right? Yep. So today I wanted to talk to you about weight loss. And I wanted to take a little bit different perspective on weight loss because I feel this is the time of year where people start thinking about the necessity of nutrition for their body.
Resolutions.
Well, they have their resolutions, which are usually crap, because they just don't have accountability and discipline to make things happen. And I think that a lot of it comes from the psychology of weight loss, because most people know that when you lose weight, there is a multiple amount of factors. There's an old school way of losing weight where it was calories in versus calories out. Are you expending more calories than what you're taking in your diet? Therefore, you will lose weight. Now, you will lose muscle mass and everything else after that. But there's a true psychology to weight loss in the form of support. And I wanted to talk about the support of weight loss today. Are you okay with that?
I'm okay. And as you're saying it, though, I'm almost thinking of, like, we talk about a world of abundance and positivity. And so I think people get stuck on weight loss. And when they hear that word, it means that it's like work and it's hard and you're going to have to lose something. Well, how about we have health gains?
Kind of like going to the dentist. Like, they know it's a necessity, but they're scared of it because they know the trial and turmoil it's going to take to get to where they want to be.
But instead of like having to lose something, what if we can gain clarity? What if we can gain balance in our life? What if we can gain a sex life? What if we can gain clearer thoughts, more energy? What if we can have all of those gains and start thinking of it that way rather than having to like lose something?
Yeah, I think it's that lack mentality with weight loss versus health gain and versus lifestyle change, modification, gaining a lifestyle that actually will improve your health versus taking something away or having that negative deductive reasoning to it. And I wanted to hit on something that I found very interesting is that people generally have this hard connotation or negative connotation with weight loss, but it's very hard for people to get you to support the support you need in your weight loss journey or in your health change journey.
Well, I think some people already set themselves up to fail because they don't tell the other person that, hey, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to start a gym membership, or I'm going to go to the gym, or right. So maybe inside our head, we set these milestones or these resolutions that we want to do, but we haven't told anybody else. So then nobody else can hold us accountable because we ultimately know we're going to fail ourselves.
Yeah. And you let yourself down, right? So we can get into that whole thing about negative self-talk and lying to yourself. And then, which we've talked about 2 episodes previous to this with conversations we have in ourselves and communication. But we've talked about weight loss in the past too, but I think the thought process of is what I'm really trying to get at is when you lose weight, people get negative behind it. Where when you start losing some weight, people are supporting you. They're flat out supporting you. They're happy. But as soon as you start losing a large amount of weight, they get super worried about you. Where, oh my gosh, and we've all heard these sayings, and I know you have too. Like, you're wasting away, you're falling apart, you're
Are you
not eating
sick?
enough, are you sick? Do you have cancer? All of those negative things. Like, how come you're not eating as much as you used to?
Or it's even of like, oh, they're detoxing
Oh
again, or
yeah, yep,
oh, you have
yep.
to have
We
that
get that.
special diet. And I was like,
We get that
protein, fruit, and
so
vegetables, that's not
we
special. That's how
we
we should eat.
oh my god. We get that so much. It's uncanny, guys. It's just like, oh, you're back on your diet again, or you're back on your special nutrition
Yeah.
thing.
And I won't call it's a
It's a
lifestyle.
lifestyle, damn it. It's what it is. It's a commitment. And yes, I would say that you and I have about 2 months out of the year where we don't eat as healthy as we do the other 10 months. And that's generally November and December because we're surrounded by different food choices, and some of those choices do give into the I don't know, the the sugar cravings, the kind of letting your guard down, kind of giving into things you know aren't good for your body. And it's a general consensus that if you stop consuming sugar, you're going to lose weight.
Oh, absolutely. Sugar's addicting.
Yes, and a lot of people are addicted to these substances, and people shouldn't feel bad for you for losing weight. I think that's a big thing because nobody ever says anything to you when you're gaining weight.
Well,
Ever.
I think part of it, depending on who it's coming from, is jealousy,
Yeah.
right? Like they can be like, "Oh, you look that certain way, and I look better than you," right? That's the outward feature, like
Mhm.
that's the
Mhm.
physical aspect of
Mhm.
who we are, and sometimes it's easier to, like the person when maybe you're the better looking person in that group,
Oh my god, my
right?
my mind just went. Yeah, okay.
But when somebody starts to like, oh yeah, you're gonna do this diet plan, or you want to do this, and you want to lose 10 or 15 pounds, and
Mhm.
you want to cheer for that person, but then ultimately you're like, oh gosh, if they start to look better, then I need to do something for my life so I look better.
Yeah. And they feel guilty.
Hmm.
And then they shed their guilt back on you. And I like this quote. We've heard it from I'm going to probably destroy it, but the context of this quote is this: anybody that has done anything and achieved anything in their life will not talk negatively about you and your achievements. But those that haven't achieved what you have achieved or haven't worked to achieve what you're trying to do will talk negative.
Because they don't know what it takes.
They don't know what it takes, or they're jealous because they didn't
Hmm.
put it in the first place. So those of you out there that are on a health change journey, that are actually changing your health for the better, support one another, support each other, but get the support of your spouse, get the support of your partners. Because what I find hilarious is like my grandma, for example, my grandma Ruth, we got together over Christmas, and she looked right at me and she said, Skippy, you look like you're wasting away. And I looked at grandma and I said, Grandma, I've been this weight, this size for 2.5 years and haven't changed. I may fluctuate 15 pounds up and down from 195 to 210, but I've stayed that way now for the last 2 years to 2.5 years. And I said, Grandma, I haven't changed. I haven't changed at all. You just remember out of shape, super unhealthy Skip. That's what you remember. Do you remember that form of Skippy that just kind of ate any sugar product that got put in front of him? That like to go after soda pop and things like that. But it's those unhealthy choices and habits that were instilled in me when I was a kid, that it was okay to do that kind of stuff, that then became the normal for everybody to see.
So I would say family sometimes is sometimes the hardest critic. So your grandma
Mm-hmm.
said that, and I think when family sees you all the time looking a certain way, when you start to change, at first they're thinking, "Oh, you're going to change too much and you're not going to, want us anymore. You're not going to love us anymore." So I think of, with family, of just letting them know, like, no, this is the reason why I'm doing this. I'm doing this to be healthier for me. We're doing this to be healthy for our kids. In the profession that we do, we're doing this to be able to be more congruent with the people that we are teaching, that we're talking to every day. So I think health just means things differently for everybody. But weight loss is that trigger word
Yeah.
that it exudes so many emotions for so many people, has so many traumas that affect people differently.
Yeah, I think that it's the losing thing. I think that's the biggest thing behind it, because every time people get on a weight loss journey or a health change journey, they actually feel really good.
Mhm.
And it's almost like that honeymoon phase that once they're through, usually it's about 10 days into nutrition change that they have a tough time. And then after
Yep.
10 days, things become really easy. But then it seems like that's where they lose their support, because then they're starting to see the changes, but then their their spouse or whoever it
Well,
is
they
is
didn't
starting
they
to
didn't
feel
have the
different.
they didn't have the right people set up to be their cheerleaders for them
Yeah.
of when they truly want, like when they're being successful.
Yeah. And that's what I think is a big thing, because what I wish people would do is pull you aside and say, if you are being unhealthy, hey, how can I help you and support you to get you from being unhealthy? Because like I said earlier, like people never say anything to you when you gain weight.
Right.
People never say anything to you when they see you making bad nutritional decisions, maybe something that actually could be detrimental to your health, or not instead of negatively supporting you when you're losing weight and saying, you're wasting away,
Somebody
you're
needs to call you out.
emaciated, somebody needs to call you out. But when you gain weight and gain 30 pounds and start destroying your health and really affecting and negatively hurting your body, they don't step in to help support you.
When I think like that's where, so like we never in 15 years, like we've had different people come in to
Hmm.
our office, different pharmaceuticals, different MLM marketing things, of all
Yeah.
selling us all these potions and tonics and smoothies and all of these things to do for weight loss.
Hmm.
And like we have a strong line of the things and the people that we do and we don't work with.
Yep.
So it was really simple. Like we weren't congruent with many of those
Mm-mm.
things.
No.
And that now that we have something within our office, and yeah, the side effect is weight loss,
Yes.
but it is getting
Positive
healthy.
side effect,
Like,
not the side effect of other things that are on the market.
correct.
Right.
So it, like, this type of health gains is
Hmm.
because we are getting rid of the inflammation within our body.
That's a big thing in changing insulin resistance,
Absolutely.
which I think people don't quite get. That's why weight loss doesn't actually work well. Diets.
Because you don't change your
You
lifestyle.
don't change your lifestyle, and you don't actually change the chemical and physiological processes that allow you to be more healthy and get out of a super stressed, hyper
Mhm.
fasting state, because you're not consuming the nutrition you're designed to consume, which then puts your body in a state of fasting and then puts it in a state of stress because it's not getting in the nutrition, long term good nutrition that it needs to function. Instead, it gets in short nutritional gains that then put it in this state of fight or flight and then completely destroys your pancreas.
Mhm.
And your pancreas, for those of you out there that want just a little bit of
Oh,
biology,
science.
your pancreas is what secretes insulin. And insulin allows your body then to process sugar. But if you are constantly consuming large amounts of sugar, you start burning out the insulin
Mhm.
producing bodies in your pancreas, hence type 2 diabetes. Insulin takes the sugar, puts it to the liver, and then the liver metabolizes it and breaks it down. That's as 101 as we're going to get with it. But if I'm constantly wearing it out, I become what's known as insulin resistant.
Mhm.
And that's not okay, because now your body can't lose weight. So we need to actually reduce the amounts of super high sugary foods we're putting them in our body and replacing them with really good protein,
Mhm.
not over abundance of protein,
But it's
but good
protein, fruits, and
protein.
vegetables. But I think where people get lost is like you're saying sugar, sugar, sugar. Well, I don't eat sugar. Like I don't have candy bars. I
Sure.
don't drink soda.
Which is great.
That's
Which is great.
but I think that's the connotation that people will think, well, why do I have these concerns? I don't consume those things, but it's also the simple sugars, it's the
Hmm.
refined sugars, it's your carbohydrates, it's your starches. Those things are what break down, and that is
Still
like
sugar.
sugar's the addiction, but so is all of the white stuff that is in our diet.
Yes, and I had this. This was funny. Let's go back. years ago, I was at a football game with one of our good friends, Devin Rising. And it was a Saints game, Packers Saints. And we won that game on a field goal at the end. But I remember the argument this lady tried to get on me in the parking lot at Lambeau Field. I grabbed an apple out of my backpack as everybody else is consuming alcohol, eating crap, putting brownies down. And she's like, how is that sugar? She is what you would call, she's an endocrinologist, or I don't know what the hell her degree was in, but it was in, she's a doctor. And she goes, I said, there's a difference in sugars here. And she goes, how is that any different? Your liver knows no different from glucose to glucose. I'm like, yeah, it does. It actually knows the direct difference. I'm not putting in a synthetic sugar into my body. I'm not putting in high fructose corn syrup related stuff that causes cancer. Hell, our country club uses high fructose corn syrup to kill weeds. How is that good for our body?
And we're eating it.
We're consuming it, pounds of it a day, and it's just not okay. And she was really upset with me because she was pissed because I wasn't drinking, consuming alcohol, and eating brownies and hamburgers
and I
stuff.
think that just brings to light, like,
it wasn't to make her feel bad.
No, but it brings to light that, a doctor is a doctor, but we all have our limits.
Yeah.
Right. We have our limitations. So even when that is her specialty, if she doesn't quite understand the entire biomechanical breakdown, it's an injustice to the things that she's teaching her patients.
Yeah, those biophysiological barriers and breakdowns that, I mean, to literally look at me and say your body knows no difference, yet it does, because high fructose corn syrup has been heavily linked to cancer. Heavily linked. And we have seen a massive rise in cancer over the last 50 years as high fructose corn syrup is being put in everything with dyes and all the other additives and chemicals.
The world that we live in, right? It's easier to stay healthy because then we can give something to make somebody feel better, which elicits other.
Easier to stay unhealthy.
To stay unhealthy, yeah. And when there can be a solution to somebody feeling good, it might take some work, but when you have 98% of the world that is unhealthy, that doesn't want to see you healthy, it's much easier to fall into that crowd.
Well, pills, potions, things like this, and then they come up with drugs
fixes.
like O word, right? Not the good O word, the bad O word. And that O word affects the way the body metabolizes sugars. And
things in small bursts are okay. It's when we become addictive and we overuse them and it's the constant, like, then we need those things. If something has to be used within that matter, then it's usually not a good thing.
Well, if you have to chemically trick your body into losing weight, there's a serious issue there. Now, there's room for that drug. And what I'm going to say here might be controversial. There is room. I think that drug's probably better than doing a lapric bypass and lap banding and doing an actual gastric bypass surgery to change the way your stomach fits.
But we need to understand the limitations, and we need to know what it's truly used for.
And your body will ultimately trump it. It will beat the chemical. It always does. And then it leads to rebound issues. And the thing is that drug hasn't been out long enough to see what's done long term to somebody trying to use it to lose weight.
Well, and the best way that can be used is, okay, we're going to use it to jumpstart. Let's lose the weight. But then we come back to, we're not going to stay on weight loss the entire time. We have to have that lifestyle change. We need to have healthy habits in place while we are doing this so that we can be successful the entire time, right? So if you're going to do this, clearly, like, you want to lose weight, or maybe you're overweight and we need the assistance, great, let's do that. But it's a disservice of anybody that is recommending that or giving that if they're not setting that person up then with, here's the plan. These are the things that we need to do while we're doing this, and these are the things that we need to do after we're done with this. Because otherwise it's just going to be that vicious cycle, and it's just like, oh, I did that diet, it didn't work. Oh, I did that one too, that didn't work. It's all the things that didn't work because you didn't have a game, you didn't have a plan for what you wanted to, truly have happen, and you didn't set yourself up to win.
Well, do you have a plan for your health? And we see that all the time in chiropractic as well. I mean, we're chiropractors. Like, this is what we do. We're family practice pediatric chiropractors. And we will hear patients that will say, chiropractic didn't work for me. Chiropractic didn't work for my kid. Chiropractic didn't do this. Well, what was the plan you were put on?
Everything takes time as well.
Everything takes time. Your body takes time to heal. It takes time to lose weight. It takes time to change nutrition to your body. It takes time to change composition. But the one thing that doesn't change is how fast that nervous system talks. And I'm not going to geek out on chiropractic, but holy smokes, it's the fastest moving thing on earth. And it never changes as long as you have the communication there. But chronic stress will lead to a change in that communication.
Absolutely.
And then health changes, health goes downhill, and then we start fighting for our lives instead of thriving for our life, which is not okay. Now, in dovetailing off of this, and we're going to close this up in just a minute, I think that we have a lot of parents that listen to this. I know we do. And how can they help this journey with their children? Because we can get into pediatric and adolescent obesity, which I think would be an excellent conversation for next podcast. But how can parents start this simple journey with their children? Because we've done that with our kids.
Well, I think it's like our kids are super smart. Like they're gonna, they mirror everything that you do.
Yep.
They watch everything that you do.
They want to be
say
like
the
you.
things that you do. So okay, that's a check, right? Like so, mom, dad, what are you eating? What are you drinking? What are your healthy habits?
Well, I think that is the key right away. And sometimes you can listen to your kids and hear what they have to say, and they're actually concerned about you. Like I go earlier in January when Brecken's like, hey, Dad, we should start working out. Because he's not seeing Dad working out, but he wants to. So I have to work on that habit with him and instill those. Peyton completely changed her nutrition in the morning. The girl eats, she does full on, she doesn't do smoothies in the morning, which we can go on and on about smoothies and sugar intake in the morning. But she does protein in the morning. And she does it in the form of standard processed protein. If you guys want, we'll put a link below on that. If you guys want any information on that, we can help you there. But also, she sets her day up. And if you look at some of the research with consuming protein, it's actually the best to consume it in the morning.
Well, especially so if you have a schooler or a high schooler, right? That's like if you think of like how classes are set up traditionally, those hard, heavy, like brain, like those thinking classes are typically the first thing in the morning, and they're done that way because the child should be fresh, the child should be awake at that point. But that is all the understanding that, okay, there should have been a healthy breakfast. There should have been protein consumed. When we get to the end of the day, that's usually like when the creatives kind of start or the gyms, right? Because we've now processed all of that protein that we've had. Brain starts to kind of get depleted unless we're constantly filling that up. That's why classes are planned out that way. So like planning a child's lunch, that breakfast is important, but what other things like the nuts, the seeds, what can we put within the child's lunch?
To give them a good foundational jump start in the morning versus heavy sugary things in the morning.
Cereals.
And you mentioned that about classes, and we can have that would be another great podcast conversation, is teaching our children how to learn. But classes are set up that way, but our nutrition doesn't fit that. It doesn't fit that because yes, the harder subjects should be in the morning when our brain is fresh. And I've seen schools where it's opposite, where they put hard subjects in the afternoon, which children should be out moving in the afternoon. They should be out changing that energy load. And also they should be getting a very nutritious lunch to help them process into the next phase of their day, which doesn't happen either. Or they're eating lunch at 11:30 in the morning.
10:30.
10:30, 11 o'clock, depending on the size of the school that your child goes to. And that completely changes your nutritional balance as well. I had a girl in the other day. She deals with a lot of chronic migraines, young girl. She's been under our care for years. And all of a sudden she's starting to develop headaches in the last 6 months. And I'm just like, okay, biggest thing to me is now that you've told me about this, because they hadn't said anything about her health at that point. They hadn't mentioned it. I assumed everything was going really, really well. And then so-and-so, she's been getting headaches. Well, how often? She's been getting them for a few months now, and come to find out since September. Well, school started. Okay, when are we getting our headaches? 4 o'clock in the afternoon. When does she eat lunch? 11:15.
Yeah, it's a long time to go without feeding your body the sugars, the good foods, the proteins, the building blocks of what it needs to survive.
Exactly. And if we don't do it correctly in those stages, or have those snacks built in for children as well, because then they do have their gym classes in the afternoon, and then they're expending all of that energy stores that they put in at 11:30.
It may seem like they come home with all of the energy in the world, but it's a different type.
It's a different type. That's a total different conversation. So weight loss support is huge. Weight gain, health gains are huge. And that should be what it's called, is I'm gaining health for myself again, and having good support in there, and having a supportive spouse, having a supportive partner that's there for you can do the journey with you. And I would say one challenge to everybody out there listening is do it as a family, do it with the people around you.
That's what I would say, because the connotation is usually, oh, you're doing that food stuff again. I was like, what do you mean? Eating healthy meals?
What do you mean again? What do you
But like, we've always been one that, like, we will not make a different meal for our children. Like, they always try what we have to eat. If they don't like it, then they'll make a sandwich. But like, when we go and we start to, like, change our nutrition, we see it in the kids as well. So when you are eating whole food nutrition, that just means like really good nutritious foods.
Yep.
You don't need to make separate meals, because ultimately their palate should be palatable to like those things. That's a concern, that if a child's like, well, yeah, they don't like that texture, they don't like that taste, then we have a lot of things to start fixing for that child, because things aren't registering how they should be. So even when they're consuming that food, even if it is the sugar, it's not getting and it's not feeding the body the way that it should.
So dovetail in the next week then. Next week, guys, we're going to come in here and we're going to talk about nutritional changes for our children and what we can be doing and how we can help fight this epidemic of childhood overweight, obesity, and not being able to process their sugars properly. So we can help build a very, very strong, healthy generation below us, so we don't have to worry as much. Because let's be honest, our nutritional habits that we have instilled in ourselves from our relatives and the people that grew up that trained us, we instill those in our children. But you can be the ones that actually break that cycle.
Man, we could go into epigenetics.
Yes, we can, and I think we're going to find that next week.
We're eating for our grandchildren.
Yeah, you are eating for your grandchildren. You are. And that's a whole different ball game and an amazing conversation. But gaining health for yourself, you need support. You need mental and physical support, and we're here for you. So reach out to us if you have any questions out there, moms and dads, for the Prime Podcast here, and let us know if we can help you. Click the links below. If you need any questions about standard process or anything out there, let us know. Always great to talk to you guys. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in. Anything else, Dr. Julie?
That's it.
All right, everybody. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week. Bye, everyone.